cake for baby Bop and she blew out all the candles? Oh, BJ looks so silly in that big party hat. Oh, hi, everybody. It's good to see you again. I'm glad you're here because I have something super deep duper to share with you. This is my photo album, and it's filled with oodles of pictures of happy times I've had with friends like you. Oh, there are so many happy memories.
I think what made that character so amazing that kids gravitated to it so much, I think the openness of love, the positivity, the everything will be okay, we can figure these things out together. I think that's what draws kids in.
He was so accommodating and so inviting to little ones that they weren't afraid of him. And the voice, it was just so inviting and fun, a character voice like that. He sounds like a cartoon character. And who couldn't react in a positive way to that? He's just fascinating. Hey, come on, kids, let's go, and everybody's, they're right into it,
Who, me? Hi, everybody! Lots of fun and surprises!
I think because Barney's about acceptance. Barney's about you all belong and you're loved, and there's nothing threatening about Barney. It's just that I love you and you love me, and it's just such an easy phrase, and the world would be a whole lot better off if that was the case. Cheryl certainly thought this was going to take over the world, and Cheryl always had her sights really high. And we just thought, well, we'll see. There were so many children's things on the market that it was hard to imagine what happened, because we had no idea that we'd still be talking about Barney all these years later.
How a big purple dinosaur? I mean, where did that idea come from?
Well, really, it started with my son because he loved dinosaurs, and I thought dinosaurs have always been attractive to children. They're a classic. And being a teacher as well, I had used dinosaurs in curriculum in the classroom. So it really started with him. It was the story that I kind of thought of was a magical character, a Snuggly, something that a child would love. How would it be if that Snuggly came to life, interacted with the child or children, and then shrunk back down to its normal size at the end of the show?
At the time of 1987, Cheryl's son Patrick took an interest in a low-budget children's home video titled The More We Sing Together.
The more we sing together, the more we sing together, the happier we'll be.
Round and round we swing, and where we stop is where we'll sing.
Patrick would watch this over and over again, and Cheryl took note of this. So while stuck in traffic in May 1987, Cheryl decided to create her own home video series that would take the interest of children between ages of 2 to 8 years old. While attending an dinosaur museum with Patrick, Cheryl decided the series would feature a dinosaur instead of a teddy bear, but would make the character lovable for children. He would be named Barney.
So our family business had just built a video studio, and I came up with this idea to do a video series, and it was the perfect idea at the perfect time for our company's needs. So I began developing the video project, and along the way I invited Dennis DeShazer and Kathy Parker to join me. And we developed what is today known as Barney and the Backyard Gang.
Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation. Barney lives with Michael and with Amy, then you'll soon see little Tina tags along with her big sister Lucy. Jason is in Barney's class.
Dick called me into his office one day and he said, Cheryl has written these treatments, but she was not a professional writer. She'd never done anything like this before. It was mostly just, it was very rough sort of treatments. He gave them to me. And he said, take this and make something filmable out of it.
I was an assistant director on the original 3. Richard Leach, Richard and his wife, Rose, were on a cruise ship that Stephen and I were on. And long story short, we became fast friends and went to visit them in Texas, and we had dinners with them and all kinds of social gatherings. And then we got a phone call from them saying, we've got this idea for a children's video series. Will you come and work on it?
I used to be in a comedy rock and roll band, and I got a call from Stephen Bates. They needed an original song, and Stephen at that time was just an arranger pretty much. And he knew that I wrote children's songs and I wrote a children's musical. He called me up and said, do you want to write a song for something called Barney the Dinosaur? I wrote Friends Are Forever.
To sell it, we need a celebrity attached to it because there are so many children's videos on the market. We need help by having that to sell. And our number one choice was Sandy Duncan because we knew she's a mom and she sings and dances and she's, you know, all American, and she's in the Wheat Thins commercials and everybody's very familiar face. So it turned out that the writer's strike happened in Hollywood at the time. Sandy said yes, and also because she was from Texas, so she was going to get a visit in with her family at the same time. So that's how that happened, and we met, and that was the first time we met, and we're friends to this day.
She loved the scripts, and that made me happy because the last version that I'd done was the only one she'd seen at the time. The one thing I put in it that did survive, that I'm very happy survived, was the idea of Barney coming to life from imagination, because that wasn't in the original treatments.
Hi, I'm Sandy Duncan. Most of you may know me from my work in theater and television, but I'm also a working mother, and like you, I'd like my kids to watch quality programming. The producers of these videos have made a commitment to quality in both entertainment and education. That's why they're calling it edutainment. The stories reinforce positive family values while the kids sing and dance along with the songs and rhymes we've all grown up with.
Barney! He's back! What? I mean, who are you? This is our friend Barney. He's a dinosaur. But dinosaurs aren't real. This one is, and he's very friendly. And he loves kids. These are our friends Adam, Jason, and Lucy. That's Tina. She's my little sister.
Would you like to give me a hug? I'm nice and soft. It's okay, Tina. Oh, Tina.
Oh, Michael, look what I found. Barney the dinosaur.
I love you, you love me. We're as happy as can be, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
Have you come to help us?
What's wrong?
It's Saturday and we don't have anything to do.
I know of a wonderful place where the sun shines down on the thick green grass, and there are lots of beautiful flowers and trees, and the birds are always singing.
Where's that?
Your backyard.
Oh, that's right here.
You know, nobody knew that it was going to blow up. Nobody had any clue whatsoever. It was just a really small production, pretty low budget. But while we were doing it, we just had so much fun doing it that that it wouldn't have mattered if it had, you know, had only lasted 3 straight to home video kind of shows or not, because we just had a great time. And it really was like a family, you know, between between takes, we used to play it and just have a great time together. And, those were really fun times. They really were. Of course, we had adults, we had kids, and we had all these, everybody crammed into a very small production kind of thing. Our soundstage was very small. And like I tell the story about when we used to have lunch, where we would go upstairs to the break room in this production facility. And it was just this tiny little break room, and we'd cram everybody in there for lunch all at the same time. And we're just like elbow to elbow, and it was so much fun.
I just did the first episodes with Sandy. By the time it got rolling, ours was kind of a test more than anything, because they changed so much. They changed the way Barney looked, and they were busy. They were busy writing and rewriting and producing and getting all their jobs ready. It was such a great environment shooting wise on the stage, and everybody was buddies, and it was a family. Initially, when I first showed up, I was skeptical, because at the time I didn't have kids. I didn't know anything about kids programming, but then after we shot it, and it was after I saw it edited together, that's when I thought, well, this could have legs. The director at that time was John Grable at the time. He'd told us, he said, man, this is the easiest job I've ever done.
John Grable calls me up and he says, please come in and talk with me about this project I want you for. What I want is you to go in and hire and oversee their production of the puppet. And they had hired a costume shop called Irene Corey Designs to do the puppet.
I just remember, I think it was a pirate theme. I remember there being a pirate ship involved. I remember we shot it out of Color Dynamics, and I'd done some work with them as a cameraman. And Dwayne Towle, who was their chief engineer, who's now the chief engineer at the AT&T Stadium, dear friend of mine, got me on it.
Barney and the Backyard Gang videos sold 50,000 copies. In 1989, Barney won a Parents' Choice Award for A Day at the Beach and made several public appearances.
The creator of Barney was a marketing genius, I think. She had a degree in marketing, and she used it properly and wouldn't take no for an answer. Barney was the big one, and it was strictly due to her marketing efforts.
He loves kids all over the world, sees a lot of kids because he goes nationwide from place to place, from store to store, but hospitals are his favorite.
1990 saw the release of 3 new home videos with many cast and crew changes, along with a new kid added to the Backyard Gang.
The Backyard Gang is always looking for new members.
Gee, it's great to have a lot of new friends. I didn't think mine would sure come true so fast. It's the best Christmas present I could get. First, you roll your eyes. Then you shake your tail. And presto! Show us how, Barney.
Weather, what is the weather? What do the weather kids say today?
We say it's sunny!
I was prepared for anything.
You're always prepared, Barney.
I joined Barney in 1989. The first program that I worked on was called Waiting for Santa. Joining basically for the 4th program, I was brought in as the editor when the previous editor, he couldn't continue working on the show, so they were looking around, and I was brought in and interviewed and started doing some work to sort of see, and we had a really good fit. One of the things I was able to do early on was find what was it they wanted to see more of in the show and how they would perceive the best take.
I had been a puppeteer for my family ever since they were little kids, 3 or 4 years old. And I used to do puppets and just for fun. And I just loved all that performance. The puppet guys were me and Ray Henry. Now Ray, I had met Ray. He was working with me on television, satellite television shows we would set up, and that's where we met. And so I knew he was good with crafting and building things, so I brought him in as an art director.
I was part of his art department, and we painted all the
backdrops, we built the sets, we built a lot of the props for Barney. You know, most normal human props look too small in his hands since he was so big, but you know, we built cameras and, you know, out of wood, you know, to resemble a camera, all sorts of different things like that, just to make him, you know, look better in Barney's hands and make it easier for him to hold.
At the time, I was just basically a cameraman in the studio, 3 cameras at a time. You know, you got the big camera on a pedestal and it rolls around.
You know, it kind of evolved. We started with everyone as a group doing everything, and then we began picking singular stories out, and that's really where I think the show began to take off. I think I enjoyed my career the most at that point because I was doing 2 things that I enjoyed doing, directing and working with kids. I really enjoyed that, and the kids, they all had different personalities, but they all did a great job and were willing to try just about anything we came up with. It was really interesting. The first Barney costume was a bear to work with. We had to keep it nice and clean. We actually spritzed it with vodka as a cleaning agent to keep the bacteria down in it. The Barney costume especially was very hard. The first guy in it actually was a mime because we figured he could do the most with it being a mime, and he did a really good job considering how stiff it was to work with. They picked a Concord grape purple. And knowing the technology of the time with the tube cameras, etc., I said, you know, that's not going to look the way it looks now. By the time it gets edited and goes down a few generations, that's going to be more blue than purple. So we went with it. And sure enough, it was blue or close to blue on the final edited product. Now today, you could fix that pretty easily with the various electronic color correction methods, but you didn't have that back then. So we affectionately referred to that as the big blue dog. When they finally, the realization after the Sandy Duncan series hit them of the color change, they decided to make a change. So we sat in the studio with different color swatches and put them on camera, and they kept going back towards the Concord purple. And I said, that's not going to work. It's going to be more purple, but it's still going to be more blue. And finally, Cheryl looked at me and said, okay, what color would you use? And so I picked a pure magenta. And I said, now this looks a little bit more on the pinker side now as you're looking at it, but let's run a test. Let's run it down a few generations, then look at it and see if that's what you had in mind. And so we did that, and that's what they had in mind. And that's the color that Barney became. It's a pure magenta, really.
And somewhere along the line, somebody said, well, have you heard of Barney? Do you want to do a Barney? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's do Barney. So I inherited their world, you know, and my job was to make that work. I guess we probably shot about 2 or 3 weeks, and we put in some long days, but it wasn't unrealistically long. I mean, you know, in terms of how many pages a day you do, you know, and of course you got to get a lot of takes, and it was kind of single camera style, even though we might have another camera rolling, but it was usually we shot it in pieces for one angle.
You're right, Barney. We did find him. I'm glad you're not lost, Zippity. I'll take you back home. Yeah, come on.
Oh, Zippity. Gonna go back to his little house. Oh, I bet he's been homesick. Oh, boy. It's good to be back in his little house. Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah.
Now we're at 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year, everybody!
Barney continued into 1991. By now, a woman named Sloane Coleman joined the franchise and started Barney's birthday parties to help market the series. Sloane would later become Senior Vice President for stage tours and live events, with an up-and-coming gentleman who would later join the series in 2001, Kerry Stinson. David Voss, who was the body performance of Barney, left the franchise to join the military. Enter David Joyner, Joyner made Barney the physical, active Barney we know today. David joined just in time for an upcoming Barney concert in May 1991 at the Majestic Theater.
Everybody sing our song with us! Everybody! That's right! Okay, everybody clap along! We're gonna have so much fun today! Hi, everybody! Hi! Boys and girls, moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, aunts and uncles. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Oh, are you ready to have a great time today? Great!
They wanted to do Barney in concert, and they came to me. I had a long reputation as a multi-camera live TV director. Spent 16 years doing that.
I was up in the balcony off to the left. I still remember. Interesting note on that, on that show. That was one of the first shows we did in Dallas with the computer chip cameras.
I was working in the Omega audio truck, so we were recording multi-track in that truck.
Barney in concert was a hit. The concert introduced new songs, activities, and a new dinosaur character named Baby Bop.
Oh, would you like to do a song by yourself for our friends in the audience?
Oh, me don't know. Baby Papa little afraid.
Oh, sure, you can do it.
Okay, me try.
Great.
Barney Boutiques opened in the Neiman Marcus stores on September 21st, 1991. 6,000 to 8,000 people showed up at the boutiques. This was followed up by another home video release, Rock with Barney. Originally, this was going to be the last Barney and the Backyard Gang home video, as another video involving Mother Goose was canceled.
Hey gang, I'd like you to meet some new friends.
My name is Kathy. I'm Jennifer. I'm Joseph. And I'm AJ. It's nice to meet you. Yeah.
I basically went to an audition with a ton of little kids and I had to sing and dance. And I got the call and they offered me the job.
Who's that? This is my teddy. I have a teddy too. I love my teddy so much. I even made up a song about him. Could we hear it? Please. Sure.
Great.
So that was when Kathy was officially introduced, and the teddy bear. The teddy bear theme with Kathy, that kind of was the basis of the character, and that carried through as long as I was on the show. Singing, I grew up doing and performing before Barney. I did a lot of operas and sang around the Dallas area mainly. And I actually sang with the early Dixie Chicks.
As things developed, the team that was put together just was a fabulous, talented group. And I'm not just talking about the art department, I'm talking about the musical department, the directing and the filming, and then the expansion into concerts, how that developed. And then the marketing and the art departments and creating the Barney merchandise. I mean, it just blossomed and it just went to the moon. We always felt we were on a rocket ship ride once PBS picked it up.
Hostetler puts it down for Barr, last week's hero, and he picks up here where he left off at Candlestick.
On Super Bowl Sunday in 1991, Executive Vice President of Programming for Connecticut Public Television, Larry Rifkin, rented the Barney video A Day at the Beach for his 4-year-old daughter, Leora. Larry was amazed that his daughter could not stop watching Barney. This led to Larry talking with Cheryl and the team about putting Barney on the air, and soon, a deal was made.
We were
excited to just get to work on something different and see what would come from it.
Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation. Barney's friends are big and small, they come from lots of places. After school, they meet to play and sing with happy faces. Barney shows us lots of things like how to play pretend, ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and how to be a friend. Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
I wish to see the royal dinosaur. Barney!
Here I am, Min.
Min, my name isn't Min.
It's not. Gee, let me look real close. You've got Min's eyes, and that sure looks like Min's nose. And I think I see Min's smile coming out. Yep, you're Min, all right.
Barney and Friends premiered on Connecticut Public Television on April 6, 1992. It was the highest-rated children's show during its run and was a fun experience for everyone involved. The 30-episode series showcased entertainment, the kids using their imaginations, and education.
Oh, Barney, I wish I were big and strong like you, so I could do all the things my sister Lucy does.
There, Tina. Don't worry about that. Everybody's special. There are lots of things that you can do.
Oh, I don't know.
Why were you both pulling on me?
I wanted to play with you, but Min wouldn't let me.
Oh.
It just wasn't your turn, so there.
Oh, this isn't how friends should act. And I know that you two are good friends. I think maybe you've just forgotten some things about sharing. It seems to me that sharing is a special way of caring. If you've got enough for two, let someone share with you. If there's just enough for one, take turns and share the fun.
And here's the doctor. Barney? How did you do that?
Oh, just a little Barney magic for a very special friend. Now then, in a checkup, the doctor just looks at all the ways you're growing and looks to be sure that every part of your body is healthy, okay?
Okay.
There they are. The making of. Costume tech here.
You know, we were doing the tape series when we do the live show at Majestic, and hey, this PBS has picked up this show, and I'm going, really? Okay, would you be interested? And I said, yeah, I mean, you know.
I knew several of the people that were on the show already working on it. They were about to start the PBS series, and that's when I got involved.
When they started the series production, I was still working at the TV station, but I filled in. I think I filled on five or six of them.
It was mind-blowing. To have somebody come to us, you know, Larry Rifkin and his daughter Leora, they were instrumental in making that happen. You know, the thing is too that, I mean, our production quality had improved a lot over that span. PBS is a huge leap away from where we were, and to be approached about that and to have somebody say, hey, you know, we would like to pitch PBS to see if they would, you know, like to make this happen, and that would mean, you know, your budgets are going to be bigger, and you're going to have a wider audience, and all that. And we're like, we were just gobsmacked that could ever happen, and very happy.
I was great friends with all of my crew. The fun part was working with the kids.
I was always the youngest. We were like brothers and sisters. Our families were close. Our parents were close, obviously. We were friends behind the scenes as well. I remember I would have Jessica, who played Tina, she would come over for sleepovers. I remember Leah, Gloria, who played Lucy, was always very nurturing and motherly to me and the younger kids. She just had the kindest heart. We worked with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and did events with the kids there, which was always, I have memories of that as well. And that was very impactful, even as a young kid.
Now, a lot of times things went on the set that were still wet, dripping in paint, but it was warm enough out there, they dried real quickly. But you have a schedule, and so we were always forced to get things done in time with a limited amount of people. We didn't have a lot of people at first. And so everybody pitched in. All the art department jumped in to make things happen. And we had some wonderful people. Well, the two main art directors were Ray Henry and Elizabeth Velton. Her job was to keep the sets in order, do the set dressings, and make sure that everything was ready to shoot. He didn't have the title art director, but he was a genius when it came to building things, and that was Charles Bailey, who was our construction head. Our swing team did a ton of work too. And there was Lisa Albertson, who had all the children's wardrobe and costumes, and she helped with, and her department helped with the dino costumes. And then eventually we built a dino costume department, and Ray Henry ran that and took care of the logistics involved. And so when they said, well, we need a puppet, Ricky Raccoon, yeah, I could do that. So we picked up a raccoon puppet. I think it was a commercial one. We didn't build that one. So we did Ricky, and they liked it. Yeah, I was Clarence, frog on the log, and then it just kept growing.
I was there from the very beginning. It was all a very, very, very large amount of fun.
So with Barney growing, you'd have to wonder, what could go wrong?
After our first season, we ran Barney. Everyone was loving it. Everyone's having a great time. We're getting good news from it and everything. We had a wrap party at the end of the world, standing up, and we're waiting for, when are we going to start shooting again? Found out later that PBS had 2 openings for the next season. And there were 3 shows that were up for it. It was Reading Rainbow, Lamb Chop, and Barney. PBS, of course, is run by adults who don't get 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds. And they said, well, sorry, Barney, you lose.
Oh, shucks.
There was kind of an initial reaction from some people who just didn't get it, including most notably PBS. They were like, what is this? And they in fact canceled the show after season 1. Then came the PBS fundraising drives that they would always do. And Barney was huge for them. Parents were calling in, oh, my kids can't miss Barney. Oh, maybe we'd better not let them go. So we still had no idea how big it was going to get.
Hi, everybody! Looking for me?
Will you help us get ready for our fall festival?
A festival? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! Oh, I love parties!
Stop! Go!
Hi, Michael. Wow, what are you wearing?
Oh, this is my school crossing guard uniform.
Is that a real badge?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I would love to have a real badge.
BJ is like one of those characters that was pretty interesting, he's like cool and chill and likes to play rock and roll. I like to make music, so it's a good thing they made a character about him.
I think children know that the Barney programming is safe. I think they feel secure because it's nonviolent. They can trust the programming just as they trust Barney. I believe that children today need what I'm calling safe passage, which means that from the time they're born until the time they reach adolescence or maybe adulthood, that they should have loving messages. They should have a warm, safe place to grow up and be healthy. And I think that in many ways, the Barney program goes in part to provide such a place.
On your marks, get set, go!
Toys, videos, and merchandising were exploding. Barney's publishing department developed, which led to several Barney books.
I moved to Texas like in 81, 82, and I was working in the commercial studios in the Dallas area. Around, I think it was 83 or 84, I found a position at a publishing company. And so that publishing company was in Allen, Texas, and that company was owned by Mr. Richard Leach. Developmental Learning Materials, DLM. And so really I was hired to be their full-time studio photographer. And so I left that job in 87. 1990, got a call from Mr. Leach, and he says, Dennis, going to be introducing a big program for his Christian market. Tricia Legault is probably the key person that was probably responsible for me coming back or getting me back, I guess. And then all of a sudden, what's this purple dinosaur thing? The Backyard Gang thing, that was being produced in Allen, in the same building that I was working in. Because I was just doing stills for them. Where I had probably most of my time with Barney was in the publishing area, all the children's books. So they're graphic artists, and they would design the book, and then we'd get together and we'd then produce it together. Barney goes to the fire station. Barney goes to the police station. Went to the zoo. Barney goes to the zoo. It just became books, a variety of books.
I went to school for a degree in advertising design, and I was working in the advertising field. And I had a friend who had a creative placement service, and he knew that I liked to draw. So one day he called me up and he said, "Hey, I know you like to draw, and there's a job available that I think you might be interested in." And he's told me about the Barney TV show and said that they were launching a publishing division, a children's book division. And he asked me if I would be interested. And I was like, I don't know. I really wasn't up to speed on Barney and everything. And I guess it was just like the second year after he had launched. And this was 93. I said, well, what the heck, I decided to go in for the interview, and I stayed up all night, and I worked up some sketches of the characters. Went in the next morning, and I met with Tricia Legault, and she said something, and I just cracked up laughing, and she said, "That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that can laugh, that can have fun." And I guess that's what persuaded her to hire me, and that was the beginning of my time with Barney.
It just gives me chills every time that I remember all this, because it was one of the best jobs we all had, being in that environment and loving what we did. When we were at the U.S. Data Building, we were on the 14th, 15th, and 16th floor. And being creatives, they let us dress in jeans and, comfortable so we could be creative.
So it was my first job. I was, low person on the totem pole. I was doing production for the Color Dynamics and the whole umbrella company. And Barney they were just doing the first 3 videos. And the couple of times I got to wear the costume for a couple investor meetings, the original purple one. It was like the best job you could have. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, it was frustrating too, but it was a lot of fun. We had met a lot of great, people and designers. It was neat.
My specialty is running a crane, a jib arm. And I was the first guy in Texas to run one back in the mid-'80s. They wanted to get these high-angle sweeping shots, and you couldn't do it with a handheld. I came on the set, and it was a set that was basically, probably 30 by 30, maybe 40 by 40.
In the early days, when we were all still in Allen, they would get letters. The producers would get letters from people, from fans and from families of the kids that were big fans, and they would either make copies of those and send them to us, or just tell us what they said. Of course, they always protected the person's identity. They never said who it was, but they would talk about some of these good experiences that had been had. And we were all very awestruck, I would say, that Barney could have such a positive influence in so many people's lives.
At the peak of everything, conversations were happening about doing a live show in New York, along with a home video production.
boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, let's all use our imaginations and welcome Barney.
Technically, it's a Broadway theater. So, I actually, that was on my bucket list, someday do a Broadway show. So technically, I mean, it's not really a Broadway show, but played a Broadway house. And so, there's that. And then there's just that particular theater, which is, just filled with history and so many amazing shows there, and the Rockettes, and just everything about it. We had so many great experiences just doing the production itself, but the crowds were the best part because they were absolutely perfect. The audiences were, you could not ask for better. They came in and they were, their energy was amazing, and they were just so enthusiastic, and they were just ready to go when they got there. And the kids and the parents, they just they were just with us the entire time. They clapped when they should have clapped, and they sang along when they should have sung along, and they laughed when we were trying to be funny, and you can't ask for better.
The best thing about the live shows was the audience shots.
It was an adrenaline rush because we were all back there, right there behind the curtain. Everyone goes crazy when Barney jumps out and does his thing. Hearing that before you go on was just that adrenaline rush. That is exactly what you needed to go out there and do the show. Some of the dancers for the Me and My Teddy song, there was one girl that I really loved, and I remember, for some reason, her name was Kristen, and I think she was kind of a role model for me a little bit. Some of those dancers were Rockettes, so that was really cool to know that some of the Rockettes were on stage performing with us, and then we got to meet some of the other Rockettes too and take pictures.
I think the one that I think about the most, apart from just the series, the PBS series, is probably the Radio City one, because I was so intensely involved with that.
Okay, ready or not, here I come! I'll just jump over this muffin bucket and look out! Whoa! Ta-ta! Whoa! I'm almost there! Whoa! Gotcha! I get... Oh, I guess he got away again. Well, I'll be right down.
Hello. 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 My word. Are you a dinosaur, sir?
That's right.
Excellent! Whoa, what a relief! I thought I was seeing things. This island heat can do that, Or don't you?
They built a lot of the parrot puppets and a lot of the stuff in Tinker Putt's home.
We were working on Imagination Island, just was such a big project that kept me busy. I didn't even want to work on anything else. It was a very successful movie type performance and project, and I was very, very proud of working on that. The team that worked on everything, they were just at the tops of their abilities working on that, and they gave it their all. They give it 150%. People don't realize that particular video was really a movie. I mean, it had all the parameters of a Hollywood movie. It had the protagonist, antagonist characters. When you think about Barney as the hero of the show, you take Tinkerputt, who was kind of the villain, but not really a villain, just someone who was misdirected, right? And to the eyes of a 4 or 5 year old, you can't give them these big Hollywood scripts with all these, dimensions and everything. They could care less, They need little plots that makes sense to them. And of course, Imagination Island was the guy's stingy, and he doesn't want to play. He won't let us play with his toys, and that's the whole plot. A simple plot.
Thank you, Tasha. And thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Barney, why did Tasha share with me when I wouldn't share my toys with any of you?
Because Tasha remembered something that you forgot. You've made lots and lots of wonderful toys for yourself, Professor.
Yes, I have.
But when you share, you make someone else happy. And that's the most important thing anyone can make.
I was there when Barney premiered at Universal Studios, which had started in Los Angeles, and the Barney Parade and the Barney Show, and it was amazing.
Hi, everybody. Boy, it's great to be here with all my special friends.
Barney continued to soar with the start of Season 3 on February 27th, 1995. This was also the last season for several people, including the Barney kids.
Barney!
Hi, Tina. Hi, Derek. How are you?
Oh, we're fine, Barney.
It's so good to see you again. When we heard you were coming, we made this very special present. It's from all of us to you.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, I hope you like it.
Wonder what it is. Look, there's Tina and Tasha playing clowns in the circus. And the marching band. I remember that.
Look, there we are. Derek, and there you are playing astronaut. And look at you with the alligator.
Yeah, that was neat. There's a picture of Barney and Baby Bop. We had fun that day.
Yeah.
It could be tough. I mean, especially for the kids that had been in from the beginning or from the very first season or so, because we were, things were smaller scale, and there were fewer of us, and so it was, a bit more family-like when we were doing the Backyard Gang stuff. And then the first few seasons of PBS, we were at Color Dynamics, that little soundstage, for a while, but then we moved to Las Colinas, and it was a good sized soundstage. But when we were first doing it, we all got to know each other really well. And when the kids would go, you get used to working with these amazing kids who were just so fun and so sweet. We had such great luck with it. It was not always luck. It was good casting on the part of Shirley Abrams and our producers to find kids who were, not only talented, but also just good-natured, good kids, who were easy to get along with and fun. And so we really lucked out there. But yeah, when they said goodbye, it was kind of tough. The thing that the producers did, which is completely understandable, but which was kind of hard when it happened, was they would never tell anybody when it was their last show until we shot the last scene. Oh, we're not going to be able to work with this person anymore. Oh no.
I was directing another show that was produced by the same company that did Barney. They had been doing Barney as a multiple camera video style show, and they wanted to try to start doing things a little different. And I'd done a lot of multi-camera television, and I'd also done a lot of single camera movies. And so a guy named Jim Rowley called me when I was doing Wishbone, and he said, we've been doing this crazy little kids show called Barney, and have you seen it? And I said, no, I haven't. And because my son at that point was older, and so he had grown up with Sesame Street, but not with Barney. I said, no, I haven't seen it. He said, well, let me send you some episodes and watch it and just see if it's something you would be interested in directing. So I did. I watched the shows, and we met for lunch, and he said, what do you think? And I said, well, it's a really cute show, and the thing I love most about it is I love the message of it. I love the fact that it's trying to communicate love and respect and appreciation and inclusion and all these good things for children that kids need to learn from an early age. And so I said, I like that idea, and I love working with kids. I said, let me try directing one of your home videos. and let's see how that goes. And that way I can meet your crew and meet all the talent. And so I did that, had a great time, loved everybody. They were just wonderful people. The thing I think I liked most about that first experience was that we had a synergy. Everybody, we were all on the same page in terms of wanting to do a show that kids could grow up with and would provide them with the kind of foundation they needed to become good adults. And so I said, yeah, I'd love to do it. So they put me to work, and I stayed 15 years.
Well, I was directing Sesame Street up in New York. Jim came up to see me there, and he asked me to come do a home video, which I did. And then he came up to New York again and asked me if I would do the next few seasons of the show.
Hey, sissy! I hear a ship's bell! What? I said I hear a bell! What? I can't hear you! I'm ringing this bell! Never mind.
Patty and Julie were, and still are, two of the most amazing people. Two of the greatest, I have said this before, two of the greatest comedy minds that I have ever worked with. Very quick. When we weren't working, we were just goofing around. It was just so funny. We had such a great time. But always the pros, amazing pros, and so glad that I had them.
Yep, that's my little sister.
I can't lift it.
Oh, but my blankie is stuck.
How are you even going to fire that cannon?
Oh, it's easy, see? I've got a remote control, and I just push the button like this.
Oh, it's the Wingster!
You'll never catch me now! Oh, yes, we will!
Follow that Wingster!
So when I signed on, it was for episodes as well as, I think it was 3 or 4 home videos. But the very first one that I ever did was Camp Wanna Run Around.
I had never puppeteered before other than putting a sock on my hand as a kid and sitting behind a couch.
And I don't think we knew what we were getting into. I think we thought it was some sort of cottage industry.
But it was a real psychological change in that Barney was Cheryl's baby.
Personally, how has Barney affected your life?
I'm able to see that what I'm doing truly matters.
Everybody was just so nice. And I don't think it was just because we were kids. They were just really nice, genuine people.
And it does irritate me that over the years, things would come out, Barney was a pedophile and this and that. And I'm like, nothing could be further from the truth.
And Miss Penny did a really good job of preparing us. I for sure want to give Miss Penny some credit there because she did a great job preparing us.
Yeah, we've pretty much done everything we're going to do with this character, and we're kind of in a maintenance phase.